Hey everybody, we're talking today about mistakes men make when using HRT, hormone replacement therapy. So there are some key things to understand. And the first thing is that we want to make sure that if you're using hormone replacement therapy, such as testosterone, you're looking at all sex hormones. So one of the first mistakes men make is not actually considering estrogen. So men have estrogen just like women have testosterone, men have estrogen. And estrogen has actually been shown to help men with erectile dysfunction. Now, of course, we don't want too much, right? If we have too much as men, that's when you grow man boobs, right? We're going to stay away from that. But you do want to test your estrogen because what we've seen is that estrogen has, in some studies, actually eliminated erectile dysfunction if men are low in estrogen. And it's thought that estrogen helps the testosterone to work better. So when we're thinking about testosterone, we want to also make sure we're looking at estrogen. Another huge mistake that men get into is by not compounding this. We want to get the bioidentical form of our testosterone because that is the form that your body makes on its own. When you get testosterone from a standard pharmacy that's not compounded, it tends to not be the same form that your body makes. It tends to be synthetic, and that can be a problem because your body doesn't recognize it in the same way. So you want to make sure it's compounded. Another mistake that men get into is not analyzing the reference ranges correctly. So I talked about this about a month ago in a video around reference ranges. So for men, the standard reference range is a little bit varied with the lab, but it's about 300 to 1,000 is what the standard reference range is. And we've lowered that range basically of what is normal about 45% over the past 40 years. And so as we've done that, then more men fall into normal even if they're actually low. So when you're looking at your testosterone levels, you really want to fall in that, 900, 1,000, or even sometimes a little bit above that range, making sure you're monitoring symptoms and how you're improving at the same time. Just a quick pause to say thank you to our sponsor, MyLibidoDoc. MyLibidoDoc is on a mission, and this mission is based in part on a Harvard study that looked at longevity and happiness and looked at genetics, looked at diet, lifestyle, exercise, and so many more variables. And out of all the variables they looked at, this study found that the number one thing that made a difference in our quality of our life, as well as our longevity, was our relationships. And in addition to this, we see that one of the top 5 reasons why people get divorced or break up is due to lack of intimacy. MyLibidoDoc, our sponsor, is on a mission to improve 1 million relationships. And we do that through your help, through your support, through subscription, and through spreading the word and checking out our Libido Club, where MyLibidoDoc works to help couples have the step-by-step guidance and help from experts around the world to improve their relationships, their communication, their intimacy, their sex, their capacity to perform as amazing lovers, and so much more. Now back to our show. Another thing that we want to consider is blood sugar and looking at insulin. If you're insulin resistance, meaning if you test your fasting insulin and it's much above like a 7, that's a sign of insulin resistance. It's a sign of blood sugar issues, and that can impact your testosterone levels. And you want to make sure when you are testing your testosterone, you don't just test your total amount, but you also get a value called free testosterone. Free testosterone is a form of testosterone that is more available to the cells. So sometimes the problem is that you are making plenty of the regular testosterone, but your cells are not able to use it. So you want to make sure you are getting that free testosterone reading to make sure that your cells can actually utilize the testosterone correctly. This is where we can consider things like saw palmetto, for example, and nettles as some of our support for increasing that free testosterone level, as well as zinc. In addition to this, we also want to consider making sure you're testing for dihydrotestosterone. That particular form of testosterone has been considered to be part of the process of what leads to inflammation of the prostate, although some of that has been a little bit debunked in some research that I do go over in my book, Want to Want It. So you want to consider that. But if there are problems there with that dihydrotestosterone, you can consider herbs like Shilajit at 500 milligrams a day, which can help to lower that dihydrotestosterone. So we want to consider all of these things, like really making sure you're getting very, very thorough lab tests, looking at insulin, looking at estrogen, looking at both free and total testosterone, and that you're really considering all of these in the use of HRT. Another thing that can really be helpful as far as delivery method for men is scrotal application. So actually using the testosterone cream on the scrotum once a day. The absorbability is very, very high there, and it can help with the health of the testes as well. So that's another thing to consider from a application standpoint to help you use HRT correctly. So if you have more questions on this, I do encourage you to go get my book. I will see you all in another video real soon.